world. I'm Cecelia Sterling, and I have a story to share. And this is about the Gala, the fundraiser for my daughter's school. But we're going to back up just a bit. So last week, I shared with you that I was in the trenches, if you will, struggling, scared, feeling lots of big, hard feelings, worried about my finances. And around that same time, I met with my producer and we were having a conversation, and she said, "How are you?" And I burst into tears and I told her how I was feeling and exactly what was going on. And we talked through it, right? And she gave me some support, and she and I both gave me some attention that I needed. And then as there were some pauses, she asked me how the gala went. It had just finished the week before. And I mean, instantaneously, I noticed energy up. It was a success. It was enjoyable. It was creative. It was communal. It was a way for me to express some of my skills and talents. And as I was describing to her the experience, I just noticed, I would say my vibration lifted, my mood lifted. And it was like leaving a room that was painted black and literally going into a room of rainbows, both aspects of my current life, right? And I thought, I have to share this point because I could shift on a dime my feelings based on what I gave attention to. I think it's really important to give attention to both. But because I was struggling, I think it was really helpful for me to describe and hang out in a recent success of mine where I was honoring and sort of celebrating my talents and gifts. And in that, I noticed a part of the process that I wanted to share with you. So when the Gala committee was first organized, I was asked to be in charge of decorations, which seems like an appropriate place for me to be. And I was told there was a woman who was going to help me, and she used to be a florist. And my first response to that was like, cool, I love flowers. Second response, sometimes people are florists and they have strong opinions about their floral designs, and I don't like them. So then that scared me a little, like I might have some hard conversations coming up. And then I was also hopeful, like how great, we could have really beautiful florals. Let's see, right? So I meet with a woman who reminds me a lot of my sister, interestingly. And she and I start talking about her past. And I'm like, so what type of florals have you done? And what's your style, kind of? And, oh, we used to own a business. Like, tell me about that. Okay. She used to own a business in the same part of town as I had my boutique. I had never met the owners of this floral company, but I had seen their work, and to me, they were masters. Like, not just floral arrangements that get delivered or centerpieces, but installations. She told me once that someone said, "Is it possible to turn the whole ceiling into roses?" And she said, "Yes. We're not exactly sure how we're going to do that, but we're going to figure it out." Like magazine level, editorial level floral installations. So I was really excited. And even at the first meeting, like the women at the table, I was like, I'm really happy to have a seat at this table with these women. She wasn't at that first meeting. So it got better and better as the process of planning went along. So she and I had a nice connection. Like, I am now like, decorations are going to be great because she's doing the flowers. And if that's all we do, it's going to be epic, right? And then we sort of fast forward. The theme of the gala is Starry Night. And some people brought some inspirational images of other galas that were Starry Night and very Van Gogh, blue and yellow sunflower specific. And I don't know what I said out loud, but internally I can't do that. So what are we going to do? So our theme for the year at the school was that we are all lighthouses, and it's important for us to share our light. And there's a great book, maybe we could put it in the notes, that I started reading. I haven't even finished, about the lighthouse effect. And I think it's brilliant. Lots of things around like why I wanted to do the show seem very similar to what he's talking about in the book. And sorry, that was a side note, but I'm getting sidetracked. So anyway, I take the theme and I say we're all stars giving off light and we need to show up and shine bright, right? That's kind of what I internally do with the theme. So I go to bright, beautiful florals done by an artist and stars, which are not only pretty and organic and give off light, what do I want to say? They're inexpensive, they're accessible, and they can be whimsical, which I think is appropriate for a school fundraiser where we are ultimately celebrating the kids, and it is in collaboration with their art show. So they're setting up the hall as if it's an art gallery, and all the kids' artwork will be there, and then we're having this gala kind of cocktail party surrounding this gallery opening. So it's wonderful, right? It's all good. And as we, work through the process, we get to the place where it's like time to make decisions about what we're doing, what we're buying, where we're spending our time and energy, what we're decorating. And she and I work well together in making some of those difficult choices, right? It's a fundraiser. We've been given a budget, but it's hard to choose where to spend money with this sort of backstory, like, well, we're taking it away from the kids. But it's to generate more fundraising for the kids. Spend money to make money, right? We've both been in business, but immediately I noticed some of our sort of perhaps limiting beliefs being brought to the surface. And I have this inspirational speech I give my partner about how important it is that where we're spending our money is in these specific spaces. So we're not trying to decorate everything and everywhere, but those spaces need to be real creative expression. Like we're bringing our artistry as well to this space and experience, right? Because that's the theme. And this works. She doesn't spend as much as I want her to, but she spends more than she was planning. What happens with that money is miraculous because she's masterful. And I am sort of learning as I go. And I have this concept for this other space that the only decoration we're doing in the gallery space is what I later realize is a mobile. I don't even have that word for it at the beginning. But there are going to be all of these stars hanging in this giant circle within a giant chandelier that hangs there already. Contained space. Great. And I'm pretty nervous the week before as far as installation goes. And I'm asked to install this mobile, which I don't have a word for yet, earlier than I had planned. And the couple of days after I now need to install it, I was planning on getting it sorted out, like how to install it in my backyard with my husband, who's a professional rigger. So, timeline, right? And it's in front of people that I don't know that well. And it's my first time. And there's ego and hopes and dreams, and concept to reality is always a bridge to cross that, yes, things sometimes work out better than you can imagine, but sometimes there's a lot of compromises. But I say, okay, that's the timeline. I'm going to rise to this occasion. And luckily, just before that day, I have a meeting with her about where she's going to do her flowers. And I ask her for an arrangement in the center of a tree that fully wraps around the trunk. And she says, okay, possible. Lots of flowers. Let's see. Later, that becomes the most magical moment. And then we talk about this big sort of swag, or yeah, I guess swag would be a good word for it, arrangement hanging over the entry. And so when I say, let's do a bunch of flowers there, she says, okay. And I get to hear her verbally break that concept, design idea into its parts. And I'm so grateful, because what I realized later is I've never done an installation. And so I needed to understand how to break the giant space into its individual parts, to understand, like for her, it was how many flowers will fill that space. For me, it was how many stars are going to be hung in this area, this 8-foot wide diameter, and how are they going to get to the different heights that I'm imagining, and how are they going to hang, and how am I hanging them? And so I get this great, like, oh yeah, this is all just math, right? Big, small, 3 different colors, various ranges, 4 in this area, 6 in this area, 4 in this area, 6 in this area. So she kind of creates this visual equation for me that helps me then know how I'm going to create my visual mobile. And the word mobile kind of pops into my head at some point, and that helps me relay to other people what I'm trying to do. And they bring me a very, very, very tall ladder to do it. Didn't realize I was going to need that. Oh. And my husband comes and he rigs the framework for it and cuts the pieces. And I didn't want him involved at all, because sometimes he yells and swears, and he didn't yell and swear at the school. So happy and felt safe in my creative process. And so all of this to say to you that when I went from describing my financial fears to how well the gala went, it was a big shift. There were so many successes, so many moments where I'm installing something high up on a ladder and I'm not sure, and there's a group of people, and they could have been really critical. They could have been really scared and negate the types of things I was thinking or choosing. And they were so kind, respectful, considerate. They voiced their concerns and their ideas with respect, nodding to me like, but do what you think is best. Look again at the room I'm in. I love it here. I even really liked being up on that ladder. It hurt my back. But other than that, why is my back so sore? I haven't worked out this week. It's like, oh, I was like this for like 5 hours a day for 3 days in a row. Anyway, also nodding to the point of, like, sometimes hard work is fantastic, right? And so I wanted to, again, point that out, that shift of giving energy to something that's really hard and scary, and giving energy to a success or a hope or a dream or a win, and how you can literally change your experience in any moment. But then also, when there's a large concept, breaking it into its individual parts makes it more digestible. For me, once I can put things into a structure, a math equation, a step-by-step pathway to success, it pops the insecurity, anxiety bubble for me. And I move from my fear to my, ooh, let's do this. Step by step, piece by piece. In fact, we started reading The Hobbit with my daughter before bed each night. And we're at the point where they get to the mountain and it becomes clear that they never had a plan for after that. And I'm like, can you believe that? And my daughter says, they weren't there yet. They'll make the plan now that they need it. Okay, Buddha. One day at a time. One step at a time. With that underlying belief. Maybe it's a hope, maybe it's a confidence. But let's make it a belief that we got this and things are going to work out. And I pray better than we can even imagine. And with that, I will say, Ciao for now. I'm Cecelia Sterling, and these are the adventures of Super Chick.